Started out alive, man, that was the play. Streaming every night, building up the sway. But as the sight faded, I had to find my way. Now I'm hopping platforms, surfing through the fray. Got my crew behind me, yeah, we call them givers. Chillin' IRL, catching all the rivers. Farkle in the chat, bringing loss to the grind. Talking crypto games while we sipping Jack Fine. Gives a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, life's a subtle rhyme. From the land down under, streaming through the night. New Zealand vibes, surfing waves day to night. Always looking for the next thrill, that's where I ignite. Community so solid, always shining bright. Rolling, rolling deep and cruising for the height. From the struggle to the stream, it's all just a game. But with the giver found, we're making our name. Jack and crypto profits, life just gets sweeter. Every view and every stream, making life a keeper. Give us a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, life's a subtle rhyme. From the land down under, streaming through the night. Got my heart on my sleeve, everything feels right. So here's to the journey, no regrets in sight. Each laugh and each tear, it's a beautiful fight. Keep the wave rolling, let the good vibes flow. We're the givers, together in the show. Gives a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, the life's a subtle rhyme. From the land down under, streaming through the night. Got my heart on my sleeve, everything feels right. Script out, play a game. From start to next, I'm chasing fame. With gear behind me, changing scenes. So through the internet, living out the dream. Got my acoustic strong, curing and chill for cracking jokes. Go stop the thrill. In the land of Kiwis, we ride the waves. Our streams phone, no better days. Gives a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, the life's a subtle rhyme.
Hello, the internet. It is Monday, the 19th of January, 2026, and welcome back to the channel. I was checking the date again, the 19th of January, and it is the year 2026. Can you freaking well believe it? I can. It's moving. The 19th is almost the end of the month, right? The 20 days, like 2021 to 29, whatever, they don't really count. Although they kind of do count. Australia Day is the 26th. That's a pretty big day in the calendar of Australian history. They're trying to change that date, aren't they? They don't want us to celebrate Australia Day on the 26th. That's a different story, a different topic. Here is an interesting stream, I hope. We're going to talk about this manned mission to the moon. 2026. We talked about this a number of years ago, and it was always scheduled for 2026. I'm not sure what part of this year, but at some point this year, they're sending men or women or things to the moon. Now, whenever we've talked about this before on stream, there's always been this conspiracy about, first of all, we've never been to the moon before. That never happened. And the main angle, or the main argument against why we've never been to the moon, is because of these Van Allen radiation belts. Now, why am I doing this? I'm not exactly sure. These are real things, the Van Allen radiation belts, but that's what everybody says. We never went to the moon because there's no way we could have gone through these radiation belts. So if this is a mission to the moon in 2026, how are they going to deal with these Van Allen radiation belts? That's what I want to learn today. G'day, Rob. How you doing, man? That's what I want to learn today on the stream. How are they going to sustain all that amount of radiation? Now, of course, when we've done this before, the explanation is the amount of radiation that these Van Allen radiation belts give to a spacecraft when it's passing through for such a short amount of time that the 1969 the the 1969 Apollo mission. It's such a minimal amount of radiation. We did a lot of research on it, and we found out that it's no different to getting an X-ray at your local hospital, and the doctor goes behind the partition to protect themselves. There's no difference there, right? But that's not what the conspiracy theorists want you to believe. They stick to this, and they say things like, it's all fake, man, and then they lost the technology, and NASA didn't have the skills, and blah, blah, blah. There's so much in this, but now that we're going back to the moon, doesn't that all cancel out? Aren't all of those conspiracy theorists having to eat a gigantic slice of humble pie, cram that down their throats and say, well, maybe we could have gone. Maybe we did go through that Van Allen radiation belt like they said we did. I don't know. But by the way, just at my cursory glances here, well, I'm shouting, aren't I? I'm getting excited. My cursory glances to these videos we've got lined up, I don't think this is a landing on the moon. Which that's going to kick up its own fuss, right? Well, you're going to the moon, but you're not landing on it. Like, what's the point? They're doing a flyby, which is a bit disappointing. I'm not going to deny that's a little disappointing. Why are we not landing on the surface? Wouldn't the land? Oh no, I see a little jerky jerk. Bugger! I thought I'd got rid of all that jerky stuff. What the hell's with my hair too? I just got out of the ocean recently. The fuck is going on with that? Get down. Get down. There's no fixing that shit. Yeah, I mean, if they're going to spend all this money and all this resources to go to the moon, why are we not touching down on it again? Why are we not landing on it? I hope that's explained in these videos. We've got 3 videos here, one from Digital Astronaut, we got one from Space Zone, and we got one from Great Space X. Yeah, SpaceX, not... I mean, I don't know if that's affiliated with Starlink, SpaceX, and Elon stuff, but Rob, I thought the 2026 mission had been delayed until at least 2028. Didn't hear that. That's not. I mean, is that what the content of these videos is? I hope it's not. I don't think it is, dude. I think it's going ahead. Oh, sorry, I was talking about Artemis 3. Artemis 3. So is that the actual landing on the moon? Because this is Artemis 2. Artemis 2. Artemis. Yeah, I guess Artemis 3 is the landing. Yeah, right. I mean, that's interesting. If there is going to be a landing, then fine. I mean, I guess this could just be this one. The flyby could just be like, let's make sure everything works and, go over lost ground or cover everything that we thought we hadn't covered yet. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm all about the learn and the excitement, and this stuff does excite me, like the space. I mean, I've been watching a lot of Star Trek lately, been getting involved in Star Trek, and yeah, it's kind of interesting just to sort of see, or just to open your mind up to what is further out there and how far does it go. And like, I mean, I know the moon is super close. The closest thing, or the closest lunar means moon. The closest planet or the closest thing, I don't even know what they're called. The sun, Earth is planet 3, right? And then the moon. I don't know. I didn't really learn much at school. That's why I do these streams, to learn a little. We're going to get into that momentarily. I do want to get myself heavenly body, Rob Mack. That's a good way to describe it. The closest heavenly body. Sounds like something you'd call your sweetheart, a heavenly body. I went for a surf today. I didn't think I would. I was up in Sydney, but then I was back up in Minamara today, and it was pretty nasty, pretty gnarly. And I decided not to go there or anywhere up there. And when I got back here, I was like, you know what? It's not that bad out the front. It's possible. It's within my skill zone. So I went for a wave. I'd love to play it for you now. I got a couple of decent right. I got a good little snap back on the left. Then I got a pretty decent long right-hander. I want to play that for you now. And when we come back, we'll go to the freaking moon. If crypto's not going to the moon, at least we can go to the moon. We can go past the moon. We can go around the moon. I'll be right back. Yeah, that was all right. Got a couple of waves in there. Good fun session. Good to be out there. You've been a little big lately, a little heavy, a little southerly swells and wind, and just good to get out there and keep paddling. I feel like I'm surfing a lot more lately than I have been, and I'm feeling a lot stronger, a lot fitter. Gnarly, dude, gnarly. Gnarly spelt with a G, but I'll take the N, gnarly. Yeah, I noticed. I guess I noticed that I hadn't been surfing as much as I'd like to have been in the last little while, and I've made changes in my life, and including just being more firm about like work and stuff, and like I'm just being more in the moment, like doing things in the moment, like, and I'm not being as, I don't know, like worried about like working and money. And for 4 years, I guess I just said yes to everything in this job. And I mean, today I just said no to something today, and kind of felt good just to say no. And the reason I said no is because, well, actually, I'm not going to explain it, but I know that I've been, actually, there's no way I can explain it without explaining it, so I won't even bother, but it just feels good to just say no. And being able to say no means I can go surfing more. I know it sounds like, well, what's going on here, dude? You're talking about just surfing. Yeah, I know. I'm just talking about enjoying life. Oh, that's way better. By the way, I got not a subscription. I got a notification to go and get my eyes checked again. Like, I've just had them checked. Like, I've only had these for like less than 2 years. Less than 2 years. Do I have to go and get everything? Like, why have I got to go and get an eye test if I can still, like, it's no different. That sucks. This is great. So why do I have to go and get another eye test? I don't, right? There's no point getting an eye test unless you're not seeing, right? They want you to come in and then they want you to buy more frames. Every year? Why, dude? Why would I need to get an eye test every year? No, I'm not doing that. I've got something else I want to rant about. I want to do this. No, I'll do that on a separate stream. I got something that came in the mail that was like, serious? Like, and you know me, I love a good rant. I'll get going on that one, but let's go to the freaking moon, hey? Let's go to the freaking moon. The moon, Artemis 2 explained, 2026 mission to the moon, or at least mission around the moon, more accurately.
Artemis 2 is NASA's mission to the moon, launching in early 2026.
Rob Mack, I hadn't gone to 5 years. When I went a couple of weeks ago, prescription hadn't changed. There you go, dude. So thank you for validating my point. There's no need to go every year. By the way, why have I got the AC on? It's really cold in here. I'll do that as a matter of habit, but I don't need it on.
First time that humans have visited the moon in over 50 years, but it's more like a test flight. 4 astronauts will fly to the far side of the moon on a 10-day journey using the most powerful manned rocket to date. Today, I'm going to break down
Falcon 9. It's Falcon 9, right? Oh wait, this is NASA. This is not SpaceX. So let me refresh or correct me or guide me here, Rob. Why is NASA doing this, and why isn't it SpaceX? Like, is NASA the only one who's allowed to do the moon missions, or can SpaceX do it as well?
Artemis 2 for you in 3 parts: the spacecraft, the mission, and the crew. So let's go. Before we get to the mission, I want to explain the Artemis 2 spacecraft real quick. So the whole rocket that they're using is called the Space Launch System, or usually just called the SLS. It has 2 solid rocket boosters on both sides, a lot like...
I think NASA is still contracting SpaceX. Oh, of course, dude. Yeah. That makes more sense. Dude, sorry, man. I've been a little out of the loop with all this of late. But yeah, that's right. SpaceX contracts to NASA, yes.
Space shuttle, and an orange core stage in the middle. On Artemis 2, the solid rocket boosters have something that make them really unique. They have a giant America 250 logo painted on top of both of them to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, which is in 2026. Pretty cool.
Wait. 250 years of America? Doesn't American history go way back before that? Australia's got a history about that age, like 220 or 230 years. I thought American history went way back. 1776, is that right? Huh. It's funny when people talk about Australia, they say how young a country we are, but it's not that much younger than the States then. I know Europe's different, like lots of medieval Europe and stuff, like those countries go way back, but okay.
Especially considering that this rocket was made by engineers from every state in the United States. The next rocket stage is called the Interim Cryogenic Propulsion Stage.
That was independence
ICPS.
from Britain. Right. 1776. Gotcha.
Above that is the upper stage, Orion. Orion is really the star of this rocket, and it has a few major sections too. This bottom section is the European Service Module, or ESM, and it provides power and propulsion. It's the way that Orion gets around in space. Then there's the crew module, sometimes called the capsule, and this is where the astronauts live and work. In fact, the astronauts will stay in this capsule the entire mission. On Artemis 2, the crew have named their capsule Integrity. When the entire mission is done, this capsule is the only part that will return back to Earth.
Wait. What? They're not catching it with the toothpick thing, the chopstick thing? They're letting this is staying up there. Wow. So this is not Elon Musk like reusable rockets kind of thing, right? This is like one and done.
On Artemis 2, the crew have named their capsule Integrity. When the entire mission is done, this capsule is the only part that will return back to Earth.
Okay.
And finally, this
it's kind of littering, isn't it? Like, isn't that just littering? I mean, does it not become littering if it's the government and it's up in space? What am I doing with this? It's littering, right? What was that? I don't know. The house is just settling in the wind. I got to tie this on. Poopsie gave me this gives a minute bracelet, and I've just left it laying around willy-nilly.
Top tower bit is called the Launch Abort System, or LAS. Hopefully the astronauts won't need it, but if they do, it can actually pull the capsule away from the rest of the rocket if there was a major malfunction or an explosion.
Oh, wow.
And hopefully save the astronauts' lives.
That's cool.
If you want to learn more about the SLS, I have a whole video about that right here. Now that we know our spacecraft...
They don't work, man. Those I have a video right here. They're not keyable. It's not 2015 anymore. You can't click on... They used to be able to be clickable back in the day on YouTube, but they're not clickable anymore. So don't hard bake stuff into your video is the key. I used to do it at the end of my vlogs and like point to stuff, but then they removed all that shit, and so now I'm pointing to nothing.
The SLS, I have a whole video about that right here. Now that we know our spacecraft, let's talk about the Artemis 2 mission specifically. As I mentioned before, Artemis 2 is a test mission. Artemis 1, the first test of the Space Launch System, it launched back in 2022 and was an amazing success.
I just spotted.
But Artemis 1 was uncrewed. Now it's time to test this full system with crew on board. And this crew is going to be able to test out a lot more of the human-centric features. Docking, radiation shielding, communication, eating.
The four of us will gather to share meals when we're on our 9-day trip around the moon. Inside here, our device will be able to portion out water to fill up water bags for us to drink, but also to rehydrate the food.
Sleeping, exercise.
This is the flywheel device. And what I kind of want you to imagine is a rowing machine. So we can do rowing like a cardiovascular workout. We can do weightlifting with it. So we can do squats. We can do deadlifts. We can do curls.
Can I just say, okay, don't take this the wrong way, but they're only going for 9 days. Do they need a fucking gym? Like, can you just take 9 days off the gym? Really, like, and I know that this might be used later on for longer missions, but in this case, they're only going to be away for 9 days. You could probably just go without the gym, right? Like, is it vitally important that they keep their fitness up while they're gone for 9 days? No, they could just take 9 days off and come back and then work a bit harder and get back to where they were. I don't know.
We can do squats. We can do deadlifts. We can do curls, varied levels of resistance to really put a lot of stress on our muscles and our bones.
Going to the bathroom.
Inside the capsule, this would be the
And
floor.
likewise, they don't have to go to the... No, I'm just kidding.
Or you would float over to it, open up this hinging door, float on in.
All the
Wait. You didn't tell us how you poo. We want to know the details, man. I want to know the details. How do they poop in space?
Hinging door, float on in.
So I'm assuming there's no gravity, right? How does the poo go down? If you squeeze one out, do you have to grab it and like hold it and wrap it and then deal with it? Because if there's no gravity, if it's just floating around, you poop and you pee, it's not going down, right? It's definitely not going down. They suck it out of you. I mean, it's kind of, I want one of those. Hey, it kind of sounds pretty rad. You know, when you got to go, but you can't, and you got all these techniques to help it come out. Well, a sucking out toilet might be the answer. When we've got vacuums that suck up our dirt from the floor, why can't we have vacuums that suck our poop out of our bottoms? I can't believe that they didn't talk about that. Like that is one of the most critical things. Forget the fucking gym and lifting weights. I want to know how they poop.
Common things that we couldn't test before. Artemis 2 will launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida from Launch Pad 39B. Launch Pad 39B launched Apollo 10 to the moon in the 1960s and many shuttle missions, including this shuttle mission that I got to see launch when I was a kid. And it will launch as early as February 5th, 2026. And when
February 5th? Dude, that's like a week away. No, 2 weeks away. February 5th. That's 3 weeks away. It's very close. It's the 19th today. It's 2 weeks away, dude. February, that's the earliest launch window. That's cool, man.
countdown hits 0, it's going to be the most powerful manned rocket launch in history. 2 minutes into launch, we're going to jettison the solid rocket boosters and be left just with the core stage powering it into low Earth orbit. And this is when the launch abort system will be jettisoned as well. 8 minutes in, the core stage is out of fuel, and so it's going to separate and fall back to Earth, while the second stage, the ICPS, ignites and gives the final push to get the crew into space. After 2 burns, the ICPS is going to have Orion in an elliptical high Earth orbit. And so now Orion is going to be 46,000 miles away from Earth on the far side.
So now we're talking close to the radiation belt? Are we not going to talk about that, the radiation belt? What do you got there, Rob? Is that a suckable poop toilet for space? Almost deleted it. Space pooping, awesome, dude. Yes. I got that out, man. I'm going to put it in the tab machine right now. Space pooping. This toilet sucks. This is from 9 months ago, so it'll still be very, very current. Okay, perfect, man. We'll take that next. But right now they're talking, well, they should be talking about the Van Allen radiation belts soon anyway.
And the close side of its orbit is going to be 115 miles from Earth. And this orbit will take about 1 day to complete. During this first day, Orion's going to separate from the ICPS and begin to do a docking practice maneuver. In the coming years, Orion will dock with the lunar lander and the Gateway station. So we need to know, how well does the autopilot work? Do the thrusters work the way we expect them to? If you remember the 2 astronauts who were stuck in space for a while, Butch and Sunny, last year, they were testing out a new spacecraft called Starliner. And the whole reason that NASA kept them on the space station for months instead of weeks was because of bad thrusters. We need to make sure Orion does not have similar issues. Once Orion passes back by the Earth, it's going to reignite its engine for the translunar injection, or TLI. This is the final push to get our astronauts to the moon for a free return trajectory. What is a free return trajectory, you may ask? It means the gravity of the moon and the Earth will naturally bring Artemis 2 back home.
Wait, so they'll only go around the moon once? Seems like a lot of effort just to go once. What if they miss something? What are they looking down? They're like, oh fuck, can we go? No, you can't go back. It's one and done.
Additional burns required. This is a great idea for a test spacecraft like Orion. If anything goes wrong with Artemis 2, it'll just naturally come back to Earth using gravity alone. This is actually the same flight path that ended up saving the Apollo 13 astronauts after their disaster on the way to the moon. For Artemis 2, the journey to the moon is going to take 4 days. During that time, the crew is going to be running emergency procedures, including what to do in case of a major radiation event. See, if humans are going to do these long missions that we're talking about, like going to the moon or maybe one day going to Mars, we have to figure out how to deal with deep space radiation. Orion has a shelter on board, and the astronauts are going to test and see how effective it is.
So his language of choice there, we have to figure out how to deal with radiation. Isn't it assumed that we've already dealt with it in 1969? The way those words he chose didn't really, doesn't paint the picture that he believes we went in 1969.
Going to the moon or maybe one day going to Mars, we have to figure out how to deal with deep...
Hey, Dale! Daleski's in the house. Hey, Benon, hope life is treating you kindly. How you going, man? Good to see you, dude. Good to see you. Yeah, welcome back, I guess, dare I say it. Straight into a conspiracy theory of the moon. The moon, the Van Allen radiation belt's always a fine topic of discussion on the streams here back in the day. And after this, we'll get into COVID, locking you indoors to install 5G antennas and then control our minds.
Space radiation.
Thank you, sir. Good to be back. Please do not call me sir. Please do not do that. But it's nice to see you, man.
Are going to
I hope you had a good Christmas, man. Good Christmas, good New Year's, all that celebratory stuff. Did I read correctly? Did your Discord handle or status say snowing in Florida? That's the joke, right? Doesn't snow in Florida, does it? Doesn't snow in Florida.
Effective it is in actual use.
Hang on. Sorry, Van Allen radiation belt. We just glanced over it.
Mars, we have to figure out how to deal with deep space radiation. Orion has a shelter on board, and the astronauts are going to test and see how effective it is in actual use. All right, so as I mentioned,
so they're going to hide underneath some blankets and some bags. That's the equivalent of the doctor going behind the wall when you get an X-ray. Correct. It snowed this morning. Did it really though? Really snowed? That's kind of rare, right? Hey Siri, does it ever snow in Florida?
It is very rare for snow to fall in the U.S. state of Florida, especially in the central and southern portions of the state.
Yeah.
This is from wikipedia.org. For more, say open this on iPhone.
Why don't you just tell me the thing instead of telling me where you get it from? No need to go into all that detail, but thank you. Yeah, right, okay. Snowing in Florida. Interesting, dude. Wow.
Astronauts are going to test and see how effective it is in actual use. All right, so as I mentioned before, Artemis 2 is not a lunar landing.
I was water skiing last week and it's 82 Fahrenheit. Now it's cold as fuck. Wow, man. Wow.
The astronauts are not going to be walking on the moon for this mission. This is a lunar flyby mission. If you're at all familiar with the Apollo 8 mission from the 1960s, that's the Christmas Apollo flight, this mission is really similar. Their flight is going to take them 230,000 miles away from the Earth to the far side of the moon. As you may already know,
he could have said the dark side of the moon. He wanted to say the dark side of the moon.
The moon that always faces the Earth, and then there's a far side of the moon that we will never see from standing on the Earth's surface. And that's the destination for our Artemis 2 astronauts.
I gotta tell you, from a dum-dum's point of view, that's me, I don't understand why one side of the moon always faces the Earth. And like, I'm not trying to open up a conspiracy about flat Earth and whatnot, but if the Earth is always spinning and so is the moon, don't we, like, doesn't it spin around? Like, I don't get that. And I'm not pretending that I'm, like, there's probably a very simple answer for it, but I don't know what it is. I thought we were spinning, right? All the time spinning. Are you telling me the moon spins at the exact same same time? Yo, hi Rez, how you doing, man? What is it you don't understand? I can help. Yeah, just that. Like why is one... The moon doesn't spin. The moon doesn't spin. So the moon doesn't spin, but we spin. Okay. The moon takes 26 days to orbit Earth. It also spins once on its axis every 26 days. Okay. When it's orbiting, it's staying exactly facing a certain angle. Yeah, interesting. I mean, okay, that makes sense. But in my brain, whoever just followed on, was that Rob Mack on D Live? Are you returning to D Live, Rob Mack? Was that what that was? Oh God. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna have to deal with a troll here. It wasn't you. No. Sorry. I just got to deal with. Actually, I don't care about that shit anyway. I thought I dealt with this. I thought I dealt with this shit. God, what? Okay, whatever. Really, I've got to go into DLive and set banned usernames. Really, I've got to do that on DLive of all sites. Is that what I've got to do? Wow. I don't even. Excuse me while I just deal with something here. I'm sorry about this. I haven't done I haven't looked into DLive for a while, and it's kind of pissing me off. It's all changed. Chat room settings. I guess I've turned off the chat feature anyway. You can't chat, so you can follow, but you can't chat. Suck shit. Sucked in. Why must people just be massive assholes? Jesus, yes. Exactly, Dale. You come back in and then this shit. Thank you, man. Dale with it, like the stream. I just can't find this simple, is it moderation? Muted channel users. Man, there's a huge list of that. Man, we used to ban everybody on DLive. Everybody gets a ban. I don't know where this is. Content management, clips, top, live. I don't know where to do this. Oh, wait, here we go. Banned bad words. Did I not put? It's been. Okay, wow, that's interesting. Those words were in there, but you can. No shit, DLive. Okay, this is bad from DLive. I've got an entire list of words that are banned from my chat, right? And including some words, but apparently you can create a handle with those words and then follow. That's bad. That is bad. If the word is banned, you shouldn't be able to. Well, that's okay. So if you've got a banned word and then someone creates a handle with that word, no, you should be able to create a handle with the word, but you shouldn't be able to follow the channel that's got that word banned in it. Anyway, we'll just move on because I've got this set anyway so that you can't talk. You can't talk for a day. It's just funny. I really, I'm getting trolled. Do you know what you're doing? You're wasting your fucking time trolling me. I'm absolutely nobody. Why would you troll me? Go and troll someone that's going to get way more of a response. I'm absolutely, like, if I wasn't anything before, I'm absolutely nothing now. So go and troll someone that's worthy of your time. DLive has always half-assed things. You of all people know that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have. Yeah. Yo, Dale, thanks for subbing on DLive. Speaking of DLive, did you know? I just found out recently that DLive have capped streams to 3 hours. 3 hour maximum stream. If you're a partner, you can apply to get a longer, like 1 hour longer, like 4 hours. Well, that's great. And they're recommending, or they're saying that you should only stream at 720/30, not 1080/60, not 1080/30, 720/30. Bizarre, like strange changes to make to a website, like 3 hours in certain circumstances. So I guess I should look into the terms and the guidelines about where that comes up, because I just heard about it from Beamstream, from the Discord in Beamstream, talking about how to go live on Beam without getting any issues. The way to do it, I've discovered, if you have multiple outputs, The way to do it is turn them all off, only have Beam on and maybe YouTube. YouTube's kind of the biggest name in the game, so they're always going to work, I guess. So when you start your live feed from OBS, it goes to Beamstream and then it goes to YouTube. And then once you see that it's all working, then you can turn on the other ones. So DLive, Trovo, Twitch, Rumble, where I go to all these places, and just turn them on one by one. And then you'll see that it's working the whole time. I found that if you turn them all on and then you send your stream from OBS into it, it just doesn't work. And the guy, Beam Daniel, was telling me that it's DLive that's causing the issue. Now, he didn't want to hear this and I didn't tell him, but I actually did a test and it wasn't DLive. I did a test that did exactly the same parameters, only sent to DLive, even with Beamstream turned off, and it worked. Then I did it with all them turned on and it didn't work. So it wasn't DLive, it was the amount of them that was causing the issue. Which I thought was very interesting because that was the same weekend that Beamstream was promoting a streamer doing multi-streaming to 40 destinations, 40. He picked out 40 different live platforms and multi-streamed to all of them in one go. And they were promoting that. And I couldn't go live to my, whatever I've got, 11 or 12, whatever it is. Yeah. Anyway, back to the Artemis mission. Far side of the moon.
Side of the moon that always faces the Earth, and then there's a far side of the moon that we will never see from standing on the Earth's surface. And that's the destination for our Artemis 2 astronauts. This is a simulation of what that flyby mission for Artemis 2 is going to look like.
I hope it goes all black. They go around the other side and it's just black screen, dark. It's like, yeah, well, there's no light over there. I don't know what you thought you'd see.
This is actually what the astronauts will see.
Hang on. How do you know what they're going to see if we've never seen it before? How can you know what they're going to see? We can't see it. It's the other side of the moon. We've never seen it. Don't be such a smart ass, man. I can't help it though. Why is it not playing?
Astronauts will get to the lunar surface is about 4,600 miles. After the flyby, Orion will do any necessary little corrections that it needs to land precisely at the right place and the right time back on Earth. After another 4 days, Integrity will separate from the ESM and re-enter the atmosphere for splashdown. They will splash down in the Pacific Ocean, be picked up by the United States Navy.
Lunar robotic missions have seen the dark side. Okay, there you go. I knew it was something simple. Well, I didn't know, but I assumed. I don't know much about all this, so it's always learning for me.
Complete their 10-day mission. All right, so let's talk about the crew. There are 4 astronauts on board Artemis 2. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen. As you might guess, these 4 people are exceptional, some of the best, the exact people you would pick on an Artemis 2 mission.
Wait. So Bezos sends up celebrities. Kate, what's her name? Katie, the singer. She went up. We now why isn't there a celebrity going up? Katy Perry, that's the one. Thanks, Rob. Katy Perry. So she went up. How come there's no celebrities going up this time? You know? I want to see iShow Speed go up there. I want to see someone try to prank the moon. It's just a prank, bro, on the moon.
Just a couple of things that stood out to me about each one of their bios, but seriously, you need to go read them. I've linked them all in the description of this video. These are incredible people who have done amazing things in their lifetimes. Reed Wiseman will serve as the commander for Artemis 2. He is a 27-year Navy veteran, a pilot, a father, an engineer, and a Baltimore native. Wiseman has been an astronaut since 2009, and he's logged 167 days in space.
This is an important mission, not for celebrity knobs, but they're not actually landing, are they? They're just going up and back around again. That's kind of similar to the Bezos thing. They just went up and then they came back down and they got weightless and then they came back. They're doing the same thing, but for 4 more days. I mean, for 9 days in totes.
Victor Glover will be the pilot for Artemis 2. He's a test pilot, a legislative fellow with the United States Senate, a father, and an engineer from California. He served in Operation Iraqi Freedom and has flown 40 aircraft across 24 different combat missions. And Glover has been an astronaut since 2013. Christina Cook is a mission specialist on Artemis 2. She's an electrical engineer, an Antarctic explorer, a firefighter, and has worked on major scientific programs for both NASA and NOAA. She grew up on a family farm in Michigan and attended North Carolina State University.
Yeah, Dale, Artemis 3 will be humans back on the moon. This is Artemis 2, the test flight. And Artemis 3, 2028, 28, I think.
She's been an astronaut since 2013 and holds the record as the woman with the longest single space flight, almost a full year. And finally, we have Jeremy Hansen. Hansen is a Canadian astronaut, and he will be a mission specialist for Artemis 2. He's a pilot, a physicist, a colonel with the Canadian military, an aquanaut, and a father. He first got his...
Hey, a what? An aquanaut?
Physicist, a colonel with the Canadian military, an aquanaut, and...
An aquanaut? That's a new word, isn't it? It's like an astronaut that goes into the ocean? Isn't that like a scuba diver? An aquanaut. Hey Siri, what's an aquanaut?
I found some web results. I can show them if you ask again from your iPhone.
It's 2026. You're still doing that shit? Go away.
The father. He first got his wings when he was just 16 years old and became a firefighter pilot for the Royal Canadian Air Force. He became a CSA astronaut in 2009, and in 2017 he became the first Canadian astronaut to lead a NASA astronaut class. And get this, Artemis 2 is going to be Hansen's first space flight. You can't really beat a trip to the moon as your first flight in space. So that's the crew. 4 incredible astronauts who are going to be able to test out everything for future missions and be our...
An aquanaut, a scuba diver who lives and operates both inside and outside an underwater shelter for an extended period. Inside and outside. He's Aquaman, the superhero. Yeah. So they live under the water in a domicile with air, and then they go out into the water as well. Jason Momoa. Yeah, that's that he's he was in that Sea show too, wasn't he?
First return to the moon in over 5 decades. So the big question, when is Artemis 2 happening? Very soon. The first launch window for Artemis 2 opens on February 5th, 2026. Now, it took Artemis 1 a couple of launch attempts before NASA got everything working properly. But the result of that attention to detail and that patience was a very successful flight. And this time, Artemis 2 has actual humans on board, so don't be surprised if there are a couple of scrubbed launch attempts over the next couple months. Me and my family are hoping to be there for launch, hopefully with some of you guys. And if you are as excited for the Artemis 2 launch as I am, be sure to check out all of the Artemis 2 shirts and merch that I have put out on my Digital Astronaut Etsy shop, like this one, available now. Be sure to like and subscribe, and you can check out my...
Okay, let's continue on. I always like to take 3 videos on a topic. We've got another one here from Space Zone. I watched the Artemis 2 rollout. Way cool. Okay. Well, we will definitely follow this launch, the February 5, I think it was.
In less than a month, NASA will launch the first mission that sends humans toward the moon in more than 50 years. And despite how incredible that sounds, many people still don't really know what this mission is all about. Will it actually land on the moon? What are its real objectives? Today, I'll walk you through exactly what will happen on launch day, because this mission...
It's funny when you go into this amount of detail with a launch like this, I don't want to throw this out there, but I kind of do as well, but you open up. So this thing's going to be in space for 9 days, looking back at Earth. There's going to be ample opportunity to have photos, live streams, videos of the globe Earth, right? Yet there'll still be people that'll say this is fake. Mark my word, there'll be people that'll be saying this was all faked. For 9 days, this spacecraft is going to be circling, or 4 days circling the Earth, then 1 day shootouts to the moon, swings back with gravity, free fall back to Earth. They'll be live streaming that shit, and we'll be seeing our planet in all of its glory. The what is it called? The small blue dot, won't be that small. The round Earth. People will still say it's faked. It's right there. 4 dudes, a Canadian guy, and 2 American guys, and an American woman, and the people will say no, they're faking it. It's like it's so strange to think that people can still hold that. Like, how can they hold that feeling or that thought? It's obviously not flat. Just wait to see the responses when this thing happens, and people will be like, yep, fake, 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 fake. They'll see something fall off or some ice or something. Oh, they did that in a studio. Look, did you see that mouse run across the floor? Blah, blah, blah. Bling, blong, bling, bling.
Is about far more than just a simple test flight. Artemis 2 is the second mission in NASA's plan to take humans back to the moon, with Mars as the bigger long-term goal. It'll also be the
flat
first
earthers
time
and all
in more
that,
than
not the sharpest knives on Crocodile Dundee's hip. It's true. It's very true. Not very sharp, are they?
50 years that people actually ride a spacecraft meant to go around the moon again. Artemis 1 already proved the basics worked, flying an uncrewed Orion mission for about 25 days and covering roughly 1.4 million miles. This time, though, there'll be 4 astronauts on board. The whole point of
Why was there a car there?
This time, though, there'll be 4 astronauts.
Why is there a van there? To show you the size. Oh, what? What? Is that to show you the scale? Dude, they're in GoVan for 9 days. That's tiny. That's tiny. Wow.
Astronauts on board. The whole point of Artemis 2 is pretty simple. Put people inside Orion and make sure everything works the way it's supposed to. That means testing the life support system for a mission that can last up to 3 weeks.
Dude, I had such a good sleep in it last night. It was raining. It was just perfect. The rain was hitting the roof and it's awesome. Go van to the moon.
And checking that the crew can fly the spacecraft manually if something goes wrong. The plan is to start in Earth orbit, test a bunch of systems, then send Orion on a trip around the moon, about 230,000 miles from Earth, before heading home. If all that goes well, Orion should be ready for Artemis 3 and an actual lunar landing. Based on that, the real star of this mission is definitely the Orion capsule. It's got 4 solar panels, each about 23 feet long, sticking out the back like tail feathers. At first glance, Orion looks a lot like Apollo, but it's way more modern under the hood. The pressure vessel uses a lighter, stronger aluminum alloy, and the outside is covered with about 1,000...
Yo, XX Metrax Opal XX on Twitch. Hello, how you doing?
1,300 heat-resistant tiles, borrowed straight from shuttle-era tech. Inside, Orion has about 330 cubic feet of space,
330.
roughly the cargo area of a delivery van, and about 60% more room than Apollo ever had. And yes, crew comfort has improved too, especially when
it's not a lot of space, is it? Here's the bathroom.
When it comes to the bathroom. Orion's toilet, officially called the Universal Waste Management System, is a massive upgrade over Apollo's, let's call them, creative solutions. Back then, astronauts used hoses and sticky bags, and during Apollo 8, things got so messy that crewmates had to chase floating blobs of vomit and waste with paper towels.
Oh, shit. That would be funny. What the fuck? Opal, that's my line. Yeah. XX Metrax Opal XX has come and gone a few times on Twitch in the last sort of week or two. But yeah, the Opal saga, that was funny. Actually, I want to ask you something, Dale. Let's just pause for a second. Let me ask you something. Coming up, when is it? What's today? The 16th, the 19th. Coming up on Thursday, speaking of Opal, it's Marty's birthday. Should I just call him on his birthday? I don't know. I want to get a third or a second opinion. Yeah. I think I should just message him. It's an interesting thought because, like, he didn't message me. Maybe let's have a private convo. Yeah, cool. Yep. All right, fair enough. My bad.
Orion's system is based on shuttle hardware that supported crews of up to 7, although it's squeezed into a much tighter space here. There won't be much privacy, but hey, that's just another thing astronauts put up with to make history. Behind all of this is a spacecraft made up of more than 355,000 parts. So yeah, something unexpected is basically guaranteed to happen. That's why NASA builds in tons of redundancy and why crews spend months training for the mission. A huge part of that training is built around one question: what if? They run extremely realistic simulations using flight software that's almost identical to what Orion will actually use. Engineers deliberately break things, sometimes one system, sometimes several at once.
Interesting.
And the crew has to figure out what matters, what doesn't, and how to keep going. The idea is that by launch day, even when something goes wrong, it feels like something they've already seen before. Orion will be launched by the Space Launch System. Or
that concept of like not breaking it, but pushing it like to an extreme so that when the thing happens, you're familiar with it. They don't teach that with driving, yet they should, right? They should teach kids. They should make sure kids get out and take their vehicle, onto a track and put the foot down and get the speed up and then spin the vehicle around so that when it happens in the real, you're familiar with it. Which, by the way, happened to me today. I had an incident today, and I'm pretty keen to see the dash cam footage too, because so there's this particular bit of road goes from 80k an hour. It's not far from here. It's like pretty local, 80k an hour, and then it for some reason there's a big sharp, like almost like a right angle bend, goes hard to the right, and then it goes back to the left. So the road does a dog leg to avoid two separate houses. And GoVan is so like I'm barely hitting 80k an hour. I mean, I hit 110 when I'm going down a hill, but with the foot on, with the gas down, I'm doing 80. I'm doing 2,000 revs and 80 k's an hour maximum. So I'm coming to a complete slowdown to get to this right hand bend, probably about maybe 30k an hour, slowing down in neutral because I coast. I always put it in neutral and roll, and I'm coasting and I go around the corner and GoVan does a complete slide out, like a full slide all the way around to when I'm pointing back from whence I came. And that was going around a bend, which I could see what was up ahead. So there was no oncoming vehicle, but it spun me all the way around. And I was like, wow. Now I feel like there might have been some oil on the road or something because I wasn't going quick. I might have been a little quick for the bend. If anything, I might have been maybe 2 or 3 Ks too quick because I was
weird.
That is going to get weird. I was coasting to a slow point and I might have hit it just a little bit quick. And I might have turned the wheel. I wait till I see the dash cam footage, but it spun me all the way around. GoVan did a big slide out, back like tail all the way around, and then I just drove back into this other little bit. And then I was like, well, shit. I was a bit shook up a little. Actually, I wasn't shaken up. I was completely like so deep in thought. I wasn't even thinking about driving. I was just completely away. And when it happened, it kind of like I just went, oh shit. That could have been really bad. Like I could have slid off the road, hit a tree, could have hit a pole, could have hit another car. And then when I start pulling back out to get back onto the road, a fucking semi-trailer, a 2x, was trying to go around the same bend and it was cutting me and I didn't even see it. And I was like, oh man, I almost cut that guy off. He was trying to cut, they got to swing out to get around the bend. He was swinging out and I was like, man, am I going to get hit by this now? Is the tread on the tires good? Yeah, there's not like, arguably the front left wheel, that's a brand new tire. And that's the one that was probably taking most of the brunt because I'm going into this bend, turning right. So the front left is down. I think, and it was wet, like it was raining, but I think I know what it was. I reckon I hit it just a little too quick. And I reckon there was something on the surface that slit some oil or something. But what I will say, I know what the vehicle did and I held it and I counteracted it with the turning of the wheel the other way, and I didn't freak out. I held my own, And the only reason I knew what that was is because when I worked in New Zealand, we used to get the buses and hammer them down the hill into the car park when it was covered in snow and fully flick them and spin them to get them to spin like that. So I know what that feeling is when the whole vehicle just drifts around. I know what that feeling is because I've done it. And my point is they should teach kids that. It should be mandatory that you take your car or a test car as part of getting your driver's license and you put it into a spin. So you know what the feeling is, not that it's a fresh experience when it happens on the road at real time, much like what they're talking about doing here.
SLS, the most powerful rocket NASA has ever flown. It produces...
latency is 2 seconds on Kick, 9 seconds on DLive on YouTube. 9 seconds on YouTube, is it? Yeah, right. And Kick, yeah, okay. Kick is quicker. Yeah, Kick's always been good with that, hasn't it? Yeah, cool. That's good to know.
About 4 million kilograms of thrust, roughly 450 metric tons more than the legendary Saturn V from the Apollo era. The rocket's layout looks familiar. 2 solid rocket boosters on the sides, very much like the space shuttle, and a massive orange core stage in the middle. For Artemis 2, those boosters have something extra special. Both of them will carry a huge America 250 logo near the top, celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States, which happens this year. Because, as NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman said, what better celebration of America's 251st birthday than launching a spacecraft to take the NASA Artemis II crew farther into space than any human has gone before? So now, let's walk through what launch day
Further? Oh, because people have landed on the moon but not gone past it. Okay, that makes sense.
actually looks like. The crew will wake up about 8 hours before liftoff. The 4 astronauts, Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen, will be the first humans to fly aboard Orion. They'll say goodbye to their families, get medical checkups, suit up, and then ride out to the launch pad. From there, they'll take an elevator 84 meters up the tower to the Orion spacecraft, which the crew has named Integrity. Once everyone is strapped in and the countdown hits 0, things happen fast.
I love this shit.
4 RS-25
It is inspirational, Dale. I agree with you. Yeah.
5 engines ignite first, and a few seconds later, the 2 solid rocket boosters light up. When those boosters fire, there's no mistaking it. The rocket is truly on its way. After about 7 seconds, the bottom of the rocket clears the launch tower, and SLS begins climbing into the sky. The vehicle then performs an automated roll and starts pitching downrange. You can actually see how quickly it picks up speed and how the nose drops as the rocket accelerates across Earth to build orbital velocity. Once in Earth orbit, the astronauts will spend time checking out Orion's systems. If everything looks good, they'll perform an apogee raise burn, boosting themselves to an orbit about 70,000 kilometers above Earth.
There are a million things that can go wrong. I mean, I think, is it wrong to sort of say it, but like long gone are the days of explosions on the launch pad, right? Like there's no chance of an explosion, or is there? I feel like the technology's changed so much that there's the idea of the whole thing going poof. It doesn't, like, I know it's probably wrong to even talk like this, but that's all been dealt with, right? I mean, there's hardly ever been an explosion on a launch for a long, long time, and Elon's popping them off all the time. Launch explosions still happen, but right, okay, well, yeah, all right. Maybe we shouldn't jinx it, or we shouldn't put that out into the universe. Yeah, okay.
To put that in perspective, that's roughly 150 times farther than the International Space Station, or farther than humans have been in decades. From that distance, Earth will look about the size of a basketball held at arm's length through Orion's windows. About 90 minutes later, Orion will separate from its upper stage, the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, and then turn back around. At this point, Victor Glover will be flying for a proximity operations demonstration. This happens before the moon trip, but it's a huge milestone, basically a test drive. Orion's software automatically turns the spacecraft to face the discarded upper stage. Then Victor takes manual control from about 100 meters away, flying Orion closer as practice for future dockings with a lunar lander.
Cool.
The spacecraft will get to within about 9 meters of its target, which in space terms is really close. At this point, the crew is already about 65,000 kilometers from Earth, roughly 1/6 of the distance to the Moon.
Does he get to say, engage?
After a few more hours of system checks, it's time for the big moment. Orion fires its engine for translunar injection, the burn that sends them toward the Moon. From there, it's roughly a 4-day journey. And then comes the really exciting part. The crew will fly around the far side of the Moon. During the 3-hour-plus lunar flyby, these 4 astronauts will get some of the best views of the Moon's surface that humans have had in decades. With eyes trained by NASA geologists, they'll study craters, mountains, and terrain up close.
Cool.
And may even spot regions no human has ever seen directly. For about 45 minutes, while they're behind the Moon, communication with Earth will be completely cut off. No radio, no updates. Just 4 astronauts.
Engage is okay, but the marriage step is the tricky part. Right. Or so I've heard. Okay, fair enough.
Astronauts floating inside Orion alone with the Moon. Then, Earth's gravity will slowly pull Artemis 2 back home. About 4 days later, we reach the part where everyone holds their breath, re-entry. This is such a big moment because one of the main goals of Artemis 1 was proving that Orion's heat shield could survive the brutal return from lunar distance. During re-entry, Orion hits Earth's atmosphere at around 40,000 kilometers per hour.
That's quick.
Generating temperatures of up to 2,760 degrees Celsius. That kind of heat is no joke. Artemis 1 did make it back safely, but once engineers examined the capsule, they noticed something unexpected.
Right, here it is. The heat shield on Artemis 1 nearly failed. Okay. That would be a horrible way to go, wouldn't it?
The heat shield's avcoat, a silica and epoxy material designed to slowly burn away and carry heat with it, had cracked, and some pieces had broken off.
Dang.
After digging into the data, NASA realized the issue came from the skip re-entry profile. The spacecraft didn't stay hot long enough for the avcoat to char evenly, which caused gases to build up inside the heat shield and eventually crack it. Because of that, NASA delayed Artemis 2 until it could redesign the re-entry profile. So now, Artemis 2 will repeat that test, but this time with humans on board. Once Orion survives re-entry, it will deploy its parachutes, slow down, and splash down into the Pacific Ocean. The data collected from this mission will be critical for everything that comes next. Artemis 2 is the final major test before astronauts return to the lunar surface, and before humanity begins building a long-term presence on the Moon.
Wow.
During Artemis 2, the astronauts will bring their own skills and perspectives, but they'll operate as a single, tightly coordinated team. To get ready for a mission like this, they've gone through an intense training program that's lasted nearly 3 years. They've studied Orion inside and out, run through just about every mission scenario NASA engineers could come up with, and even spent a lot of time learning geology so they can recognize...
Mars will be the big step. Yeah, way more difficult than the Moon. I mean, that's coming, right? That's in the pipeline. It's coming up soon, right? The trip to Mars. Humans.
Important features as they fly past the Moon. But it's not just technical training. The crew has also worked hard on the human side of things, studying psychology, working with performance coaches, and learning how to function at their best together under pressure. When you're locked inside a spacecraft millions of kilometers from Earth, teamwork really matters. On the hardware side, things are moving forward too. In a statement released late on January 9th, NASA said it plans to roll the Space Launch System rocket, with Orion stacked on top, from the Vehicle Assembly Building to Launch Complex 39B no earlier than January 17th. The rollout itself is expected to take about 12 hours, assuming the weather cooperates and everything is technically ready. Once the rocket is at the pad...
So the rollout's already happened.
Teams will run a series of checks on both the vehicle and ground systems. Then comes the final major milestone before launch, the wet dress rehearsal. During this test, the rocket will be fully fueled with liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen, and the team will run through an entire launch countdown as if it were the real thing.
That's good to know.
NASA says this test is planned for late January. If that sounds familiar, it's because NASA had a rough time with this step during Artemis 1 back in 2022. The wet dress rehearsal took nearly 3 months and multiple attempts to complete, and even after that, hydrogen leaks during fueling scrubbed the first 2 launch attempts. So this is a step NASA is taking very seriously.
Hydrogen
NASA hasn't
leaks,
said how much
dang.
wiggle room there is in the schedule if delays pop up. But for the first time, the agency has publicly laid out potential launch periods for Artemis 2. The first set of launch windows includes late evening launches on February 6th, 7th, and 8th, along with shortly after midnight on February 10th and 11th. A second window
6, 7, 8.
runs from March 6th to 11th, and a third from April 1st to 6th. Finally, a quick note on the name. The Artemis program is named after Artemis, the twin sister of Apollo in Greek mythology, a nod to the historic moon missions of the 1960s and 70s. But the name also reflects one of the program's core goals, landing the first woman on the moon. In the long run, Artemis isn't just about going back.
First woman? Forget about that. What about a non-binary? Anyway, let's take the third video here of the selection here. Artemis 2 is ready. This is from Great SpaceX. It's an amazing time to be alive. Yes, it really is. This is exciting. I do froth at the space stuff. We don't watch enough of it on the streams, I got to say, but I get excited by it for sure. Ooh. Great SpaceX.
Just a few more weeks remain. That is all the time left before humanity ventures closer to the moon than it has in more than a half a century. Artemis 2, the second mission in NASA's Artemis program, is approaching. So what exactly will happen during this historic flight? This episode will focus on the mission timeline, outlining each step of the journey from launch to return.
Cool.
Are you ready? Let's go. It's safe to say that the wait for the Artemis 2 mission has been a long one, especially when measured against the program's original schedule. Years of development, testing, redesigns, and reviews have pushed this flight further into the future than initially planned. However, that long delay now fades into the background because the mission is no longer theoretical. Hardware is built, systems are tested, and preparations are steadily converging on launch. With that context in mind, it's time to walk through what this historic flight will actually look like, step by step, from the ground to the moon and back again. Let's fast.
The plan is a lunar base, nuclear powered for sustainment long term. To build a lunar base, a nuclear power plant on the moon. Wow. That's epic, huh? That's epic.
Forward to launch day. Artemis 2 will mark only the second flight of the Space Launch System and the first time it carries astronauts. It'll also be the second mission in which every major component involved is operated entirely by NASA. The SLS rocket, the Orion spacecraft, and the massive mobile launcher will all be fully assembled and functioning together as a single integrated system. There are no commercial vehicles involved in the launch architecture. This is NASA's Deep Space Transportation System operating
A
as
micro nuclear plant roughly the size of Govan. Wow. Okay. That's tiny. Yeah, wow. Okay.
designed. The crew for this mission is already assigned and training has been underway for years. Commander Reed Wiseman will lead the flight, with Victor Glover serving as pilot. Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen will fly as mission specialists. Together, they represent an experienced and diverse crew drawn from both NASA and international partners, and they are prepared to carry out humanity's first crewed lunar mission in more than half a century.
Crude.
Many of the procedures
Crude is a strange word, isn't it? Crude. The other crude.
that will unfold on launch day have already been rehearsed during the wet dress rehearsal conducted at the end of January. During this test, teams simulated launch operations in real time, including propellant loading, countdown procedures, and system checks. While no astronauts were aboard, the test allowed engineers to validate timelines, identify issues, and refine procedures that will be used on the actual mission. The official
crude,
countdown
dude.
for Artemis 2 begins 2 days before launch. After completing quarantine, the astronauts are transported to KSC at T-minus 49 hours. From this point onward, the mission enters its final preparation phase. Engineers conduct detailed system checks and verify software states and ensure that all ground and flight hardware is ready for the final sequence. On launch day itself, the terminal countdown begins 3 hours before liftoff. At this time, the astronauts suit up inside the Neil Armstrong Operations and
They go and take a dump first, of course. Let's be real. You know, don't want to put that suit on and then, oh man, I've got to go to the bathroom. Well, you should have done that before. We're going to the moon. Get in and sit down.
checkout building. Their suits are designed not only for launch and re-entry, but also to provide protection in the event.
You saw Artemis 1 launch from the beach, maybe 3 to 4 miles away. Is that right, dude? Is that Boca Vista? That's close to you, right, Flow Rider?
Of an emergency during ascent. Once suited, the crew
The
is
ground
transported
literally
to the
shook
launch
like an
pad.
earthquake.
When the astronauts arrive at the pad,
Yeah.
the countdown clock will be between T-2 and T-3 hours. This is where Artemis 2 differs fundamentally from Artemis 1. With a crew on board, NASA must decide how to sequence 2 critical operations: fueling the rocket and boarding the spacecraft. On some modern crewed missions, such as SpaceX's Dragon flights, astronauts board the spacecraft before propellant loading begins. This approach has been approved by NASA because the system has demonstrated reliability and because a robust launch escape system is available at all times. One advantage of this method is that the crew can board early, settle in, and avoid a rushed timeline later in the countdown. However, loading cryogenic propellants while
A
astronauts
crab pinched you in the ass? Is that right? I shit you not. Wow, man. That's funny.
are already on board introduces additional risk. In fact, NASA's own human spaceflight philosophy traditionally prioritizes minimizing crew exposure to hazardous operations. For that reason, it is widely expected that Artemis 2 will follow a different approach. In this scenario, the SLS is fueled first, and the astronauts board Orion only after propellant loading is complete and the vehicle is confirmed to be stable. Under this procedure, the astronauts would wait near the pad while the rocket is fueled. Only the SLS core stage requires liquid propellants, specifically liquid hydrogen.
So this is a danger. They're trying to avoid anything going wrong on the fuel loading phase, right? At least she missed the nads. That would have been harsh. Dude, that would have been horrible. A crab pinching you on the testicles. Damn, ouch. I had a tick in my ball once. Had a wedding, a Bucks weekend, funnily enough, in Port Lincoln, where I was just, well, in November anyway, with By Demons Be Driven. And yeah, I was over there for a Bucks weekend a long time ago, and I came back with a tick in my balls. Had to cut it out with a scalpel at the service station in Whyalla. That was a very bloody procedure, but it needed to happen. Ouch.
And liquid oxygen. The 2 solid rocket boosters are already fully fueled as they use solid propellant. Once fueling is complete, teams conduct pressure checks and leak inspections, a process that takes roughly 30 minutes to an hour. If all systems remain stable, the astronauts are then transported up the mobile launcher and board Orion through the crew access arm. While this approach compresses the crew timeline, it significantly reduces risk during the most hazardous phase of ground operations. Around T-10 minutes, final system checks are performed. At any point during this phase, the countdown can be paused or recycled if an anomaly is detected. At T-33 seconds, final approval is expected and control of the vehicle transitions to the SLS autonomous flight system. At T-10 seconds, engine ignition begins. Moments later, the SLS lifts off the pad, beginning its journey away from Earth and toward the moon. By this point, the long series of preparations may feel exhausting, even for those simply watching from afar. However, this is a mission of historic importance. Every step must proceed carefully and methodically to ensure the safety of the crew and the success of the mission.
Fully.
Once airborne, the early
Wow.
ascent phase closely mirrors what was seen during Artemis 1. Shortly after liftoff at approximately T+1 minute and 10 seconds, the vehicle passes through max Q. This is the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure when stresses on the rocket are at their highest. At T+2 minutes and 12 seconds, the 2 solid rocket boosters separate from the core stage. Having expended all of their propellant, they fall back into the ocean. Unlike the space shuttle era, these boosters will not be recovered. At
That's interesting. They mentioned that in one of the other videos. None of the, aside from the crew capsule, none of the stuff is reusable. So they're just going to let it fall into the ocean and sink? Okay.
plus 3 minutes and 11 seconds, the service module fairing is jettisoned. A few seconds later, the launch abort
Mars
system
is Starship, Elon Musk. This is not a Musk, I don't think. Yeah. I found that very interesting with all this the SpaceX stuff and the Starship launches and the Big Heavy and Falcon 9 and all that. They're catching them with those toothpicks or those chopsticks, and they're reusing them. I found that interesting that NASA's not following suit with that. Like, they're not trying to reuse stuff. They're just letting it go to waste. It's kind of, I guess it kind of makes it more cost worthy, right? I mean, makes it more cost prohibitive.
is also discarded.
Yo, Jake,
as
hey,
it is
sexy.
No longer
Who the hell are you talking? Who's sexy? Hey, going, Jake. Good to see you on Twitch, man.
needed once the vehicle is safely out of the dense lower atmosphere. At T plus 8 minutes and 3 seconds, the core stage main engines shut down in an event known as main engine cutoff. The core stage then separates from the upper stage, the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, or ICPS. Like the boosters, the core stage re-enters the atmosphere and falls into the ocean. At T plus 52 minutes and 56 seconds, the ICPS performs the perigee raise burn. Lasting roughly 22 seconds, this maneuver gradually raises Orion's orbit around Earth. From this point onward, Artemis 2 diverges.
From this point onwards, we're using clip art instead of very, very great graphics. Look, what the hell? Why did we just suddenly have a 3-year-old draw this? Giggle Pickles says hi. Oh, how Giggle Pickles? How you doing? Where she does? Pass on my hellos back.
Raises Orion's orbit around Earth. From this point onward, Artemis 2 diverges significantly from Artemis 1. Instead of immediately performing a translunar injection, the ICPS conducts an apogee raise burn on the opposite side of Earth. This maneuver places Orion into a high Earth orbit. The purpose of this step is to initiate a 24-hour checkout period that is essential for validating spacecraft.
That's a name you haven't heard
systems.
for a while. Madame Pickles. Madam Pickles. Yes, she used to hang out at below my desk, underneath my desk. Been a while. Those were the DLive days. DLive.tv.
With a crew on board. From here on, the mission timeline is best described in days rather than minutes. During this checkout period, Orion conducts a proximity operations demonstration. This test evaluates the spacecraft's ability to maneuver near another vehicle and allows the crew to assess handling qualities during manual flight. The demonstration lasts approximately 2 hours and provides valuable data for future
Holy
missions.
shit, you spoke to Cincy the other day. No shit, man. Do you know Cincy out like off stream? Or is he streaming somewhere? Man, that's a name I haven't heard for a long while, huh? Pretty much the end of DLive, I guess. Like, I guess, well, no, he left. I don't think Cincy was streaming during COVID. You mean in a chat? Oh, okay. On DLive, or was it somewhere else? Interesting, Cincy. Wow.
That may involve rendezvous or docking. After completing its role, the IC
Jake, what's he got there? Twitch.tv. You made a clip. Oh, cool, man. Thanks, dude. He has a young son. Yeah, I remember he had a family. Yeah, and he got a lot of grief because he was cashing out his Lino to go and take his family on a trip or something. It was on DLive. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, nice.
CPS separates from Orion and later re-enters Earth's atmosphere, where it burns up. With this separation, Orion enters its independent operational phase. Orion now reaches its highest altitude in Earth orbit and begins the high Earth orbit checkout. During this phase, critical systems are evaluated, including life support, crew accommodations, exercise equipment, navigation, and communications. This is the first
He
time
remembered you and you were flattered. That's nice, man. I mean, we were all pretty, like, not, what's the word? Not big, but we were all in everyone's chats and we were all around we were known, I guess. We were there. We were all there at DLive on the golden era of DLive. It was a really, really good time to be streaming. Really good time. Some of my greatest memories are those early DLive days. I was kind of green to the whole thing. Wasn't really sure what I was doing, how it would work, and we seemed to just sort of fall into it kind of naturally, you know, like the cap game and outdoor streams, like sitting out there with the sunrise and all that kind of cool stuff. Yeah, the good old days. Yeah, they were definitely a very it was a financially lucrative time to be streaming, but also just felt different, you know, like there was, I don't know, like, I mean, I definitely still got trolled pretty heavily and there was all kinds of shit that went down, but it was sort of, because it was fresh and new, it kind of felt different. I'm not too sure how or why, but, and I tried to, let's get into the memories here for a bit. I remember trying to emulate or to reignite that same kind of vibe. What was the website? There was another streaming platform that popped up. Well, there was Glimish, but there was something else. There was not Stream. Was it Stream.me? I think it was Stream.me and Gaze.tv. I know exactly what you mean, 69%. Trovo, all right, again, yeah, there was a time there when I did try to reignite everything on another platform, and that platform went belly up like all of them kind of did. Like it would came out kicking strong and then it just disappeared. And eventually I understood what was happening and I was like, you can't bottle, what's the saying? You can't bottle Bohemia. You can't do it again. DLive was a one and done, and it was fun and it was exciting and it was new and it was unique, right? Like a real unique platform with incentives to stream and incentives to view. That was the big kicker. Like it gave people the incentive to watch by, imagine earning a token just by watching content. Like that is incredible. You got paid in a token for consuming the content. I got paid in a token for creating the content. That's why the two-way street thing existed, you know? Like that's why my welcome spiel came from. And you guys have to hang out here because it's financially beneficial to you to do that. And therefore it's financially beneficial for me to create the content. So we all benefit. It's such a good idea. Like, and then people would say, yeah, but it was a cryptocurrency. It's worth 0.0012. It's like, yeah, but you keep stacking that shit and then you stake it or you lock it into the system. Therefore, you get some governance. You can start voting for validators, all that kind of cool stuff. And then you get more of those rewards. And then at the very end when they said DLive launched and we didn't quite make it to mainnet and unfortunately this has been a failure, you have 9 weeks to withdraw your Lino and convert it into BTT because Justin Sun's going to save our ass. And then you did what everybody else did, like I did. I took it all. Actually, I didn't take it all. Dale, I remember you told me, take it all, man. Get it done. Don't leave any behind. I remember I took a whole bunch of it and left some and you're like, nah, dude, get rid of it. Get it done. And yeah, you know the history. The rest of that is that was my entrance into cryptocurrency. Thank you, DLive. Thank you for the community. Thank you, everybody. Like, I think I ended up getting to about 8,000 followers, which was, you know, nothing. Well, actually, I can tell you. How many followers do I have? Yeah, 8,794. 8,794 followers on DLive. Very interesting. From nothing. Yeah, DLive was unique. Indeed. Was it Mixer? Mixer came and went pretty quickly. I never really got on the Mixer bandwagon, but mainly because it's a Microsoft thing. I was pretty adamant not to. Now DLive sucks. I mean, it's still there. It's barely hanging on. I met some amazing people through DLive and some massive arseholes as well, right? Got to take the good with the bad. Yeah. I'm not always right. No, Dale. No one is. No one else. No one can claim that they're always right. I reached 1,768 followers and I never streamed on DLive. Remember those, let's call them discussions, but they were more like arguments. Remember there was a time when I was sort of saying, why do people, how did I word it? I mean, I was wrong. I was wrong at this point, but I remember saying, why are you guys all frothing about getting followers if you're never going to stream? So you have a profile on DLive and you're getting followed, but you're not a content creator. Oi. Yo, Jake with the host. Thanks for the host, man, on DLive. Yeah, you're not a content creator, but you're getting followers. And people were coming into my chat saying, I've got 400 followers and I've got this. And I'm like, but you're not streaming. And then it was Hendrik that said to me, well, if I get to a certain amount of followers, maybe I will stream. That might be a goal. Like get to a certain number and then I'll start streaming. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't know why I didn't see that, you know? I was definitely wrong in my approach to heckle, or not heckle, but sledge people for that. Because I remember saying, stop talking about all that shit. Just doesn't matter how many followers you've got if you're just a handle. It's like, well, no, if I accumulate enough, maybe that'll prompt me or urge me into streaming. I was told I could have been a GP in 3 months if I streamed. Yes. Wow. GP, not just a VP. Right. Yeah. Streaming just isn't my thing. I mean, you had your day in now, right? Yeah. Yeah. Is it not my thing anymore? Yeah. Love you, brother. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, man. Yeah, there were some very good times. And I guess when Kick began, there was like a kind of a little bit of that vibe. Like I was like, okay, here's a new platform. It's big. It's got a lot of big names to it. A lot of money, right? Like Kick, it's big. Felt like it kind of lost a lot of its, I guess, the edge or the ability to stand out, or just it didn't have it. Kick doesn't have it. Kick is now just another Twitch, basically. Because I've got screen recordings of me on the homepage, like on the wheel on Kick. Like imagine getting on the carousel on Kick now. Like there's no chance, right? But I've got video of me on that wheel in the early days. And I always thought if they're throwing away, you know, millions of dollars to like Aiden Ross to do a stream, maybe they'll throw money our way. Like they'll get the smaller creators and they'll never happen. Ah, well. Back to the NASA stuff.
Many of these systems are tested in space with a crew aboard, making this phase essential for future missions. After completing one full orbit around Earth, roughly 1 day later, Orion reaches the proper position to...
It's rad that you have YouTube replays from long ago. Yeah, you've been watching some of those old ones. Yeah, dude, those are up there, yeah. Yeah, that's why I always multi-streamed to YouTube as well. I mean, some of the music ones, they're a bit hard to watch because all the music's been taken out, but... the other ones, the paneled call-ins and stuff, they're all still there. Yeah. Yeah. It's, good times. Good times. Yeah. Bingo. Right. Snappity snap.
Perform the translunar injection burn using its own main engine. This maneuver sends the spacecraft onto a free return trajectory toward the moon, supported by the European Service Module. Days 2 through 5 are spent in outbound transit to the moon. During this phase, several trajectory correction maneuvers may be performed to fine-tune the spacecraft's path. The final burn, known as the outbound powered by flyby burn, adjusts Orion's trajectory for its close approach to the moon. As Orion nears the moon around day 6, no major engine burn is required. Instead, the spacecraft uses the moon's gravity to swing around it. This gravitational flyby marks humanity's closest approach to the moon in more than 50 years. Orion is expected to pass between approximately 7,400 to 10,000 kilometers above the lunar surface.
Cool.
From this vantage point, the astronauts will capture dramatic images of the moon and Earth together, likely surpassing those returned by Artemis 1. They will see regions...
and everybody will scream how fake it is. By the way, Joker was trying to get D-Live to pay him to fix D-Live. Yes. Yes. That was... yeah, I don't want to touch that, but okay.
That future crews are expected to visit, offering a preview of destinations that will soon host human explorers. These images are not taken solely for their visual impact. They carry significant scientific and operational value. Detailed observations of the lunar South Pole may help identify regions of interest for future landings. The imagery may also assist in detecting signs of water ice and capturing views of previously landed spacecraft. Beyond photography,
Dale says he allegedly had something to do with the rejection. Oh, interesting. I mean, let me be clear. If he had anything to do with that, like if the Joker was any way related to any of the platforms, I just wouldn't. I'm not a part of it. Like I don't want to be anywhere near that guy. There was one time then, what was the platform? Sponge was spruiking for a long while back there before it went belly up. and Joker was apparently involved. I was like, nah, not touching it. Not touching it. If that guy's part of the helm, I'm not part of it. And then he got booted from that as well. I wish you could have seen the convos in the DLive Discord. I kind of would like to be back in there, if I'm being honest. I'd like to get in there and see what goes on in that Discord. Hell, man, I'm a verified partner. I should have my access, right?
Artemis 2 serves as a comprehensive
Wait.
test
Is he still involved? Like, is he still there in that Discord doing shit?
mission. Systems such as the environmental control and life support system, navigation and communications, crew operations, and overall spacecraft performance
I blocked
are
him years
evaluated
ago.
in deep space. Particular attention is paid to Orion's heat shield, which experienced notable wear during Artemis 1. While it remains uncertain whether any early tests related to future lander interactions will occur, the mission will still generate a wealth of data critical to future planning. During the lunar flyby, no propulsion burns are required. By relying on gravity rather than engine firings, the mission conserves fuel and maximizes
He was a few months
safety.
back. I mocked the hell out of him for a while. Wow, dude. People know that he's not like, he's just all talk, that guy. He's a joke, right? People know that.
For the return journey. After roughly a day near the moon, the mission transitions into the return phase on day 7. Once again, Orion relies on lunar gravity. This gravity assist bends the spacecraft's trajectory and sends it back to Earth, a maneuver commonly known as a gravity slingshot. The return journey takes approximately 4 days. During this time, return trajectory correction maneuvers may be performed if necessary to precisely target Earth re-entry. Around day 10, as Orion approaches Earth, the crew module separates from the service module. The service module re-enters the atmosphere and burns up, while the crew module relies on its heat shield to survive the intense heat of re-entry. This phase is critical as it represents the final major risk of the mission. The journey concludes with a parachute-assisted splashdown
He demanded that I be punished, and guess what? Nothing happened.
in the Pacific Ocean. Recovery teams move quickly to secure the capsule
Yeah.
and safely
Could
return
read
the
that a mile
astronauts to
away, dude.
land. This is the full step-by-step journey of Artemis 2, humanity's first crewed mission to the moon in more than 50 years. While launch dates may shift due to technical or environmental factors, the overall structure of the mission is expected to remain unchanged. Above all, the highest priority is safety. Every system, maneuver, and decision is designed to protect the astronauts while collecting as much data as possible. Although Artemis 2 will not land humans on the moon, it plays a critical role in preparing for what comes next. Beginning with Artemis 3, NASA aims to return astronauts to the lunar surface and move beyond short visits toward a sustained human presence. For that reason, Artemis 2 remains a cornerstone mission. Prepare for a launch from Florida, followed by more than a week of watching this historic journey unfold.
It's going to be pretty
Otherwise,
epic.
folks, this has been Kevin with Great
It's going to be pretty
SpaceX.
epic. But of course, there is one large question which has not really been answered. How the hell do they poop in space? Now, there is a video here, literally called How Do Astronauts Poo in Space? Mystery unboxing with Maddie. Okay, Maddie. Madeline Moati? This thing sucks.
I'm at the National Space Centre in Leicester for today's mystery unboxing, and what an incredible place to do it.
There is so much to see here.
She's
things
English.
that could blast into space,
Things that have returned to Earth from space.
and things that make you feel like you're in space. It's fair to say my team and I had a lot of fun getting stuck into everything they have to discover.
Including whatever is inside this box. I have
Jake Ski. I used to like DLive a lot, but now I don't because there's nothing over there. Just people playing copyrighted content and porn. I haven't seen that for a while. I went had a look and I didn't see any. But I mean, it's allowed, like it's permissible. I just didn't notice it there anymore. Yeah. Movie World was the big porn channel, wasn't it? They just streamed other people's content, like just ripped porn clips. But that's in the terms. You're allowed to do that. So whatevs.
absolutely no idea. But thankfully, space expert Dara Patel is here to answer my questions. So if you're ready, let's get unboxing.
If you're ready.
Okay. What do we have here?
Is this
it's
is she intentionally like play school kind of hosts, like, now children, take out your pencils and sit down at the desk. We're going to do a picture. Let's draw a rainbow. She's talking like that, like we're all imbeciles or we're all young kids.
It's a big box. What could it be? So it's something to do with space,
What
obviously.
could it
I'm
be?
thinking there's a spacesuit behind me and it's definitely not as big as that. It's not something small like, I don't know, astronaut ice cream.
Oh,
Maybe
hilarious.
it's part of
Astronaut ice cream. What a funny segue. This is dumb.
like, I don't know, astronaut ice cream. Maybe it's part of a satellite. Something that sort of like, you know, zooms around space, sending messages back down to Earth. I have absolutely no idea. I need help. Dara, come and help me. Okay, before we unbox this together, can you give us a clue?
The object within this box helps with something that all humans need to do, and if we don't do it right, things can get a little messy.
Man, look, she's pretending she doesn't know for the anticipation of the video. This is so dumb. I mean, this is aimed at children, surely, right? This is aimed at kids. This can't be for adults. Comments are turned off. No shit, they are. Of course they are. Because all the comments would have been scathing. Let's take a look at her other content, see if she has turned off comments on everything or if it's just this one video. Because it's dumb, right?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Hello, everyone. Latest, this is from 3 weeks ago, the ultimate gingerbread hunt. Serious? The ultimate gingerbread hunt. Wow. Dumb thumbnail.
3, 2, 1, go. Okay, we have just under an hour on the clock. Right. Don't you just...
Man, it's very Mr. Beast coded, isn't it? Okay, comments are on for that one. Interesting. Comments are on for that. Let's look at her most popular video. How to harvest honey, beekeeping with Maddie. 10 million views. This video's got 10 million views. Well, shit me. And comments are turned off. It's probably cringe as all hell. Play. I'll let some friends like Suki, Elfsar, and MD Wit know you are back in form and love and life. Thank you, man.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another beekeeping video. Today is a very exciting day because my mum and I are going to be taking honey from our two beehives. We just need to get kitted up into our beekeeping suits and then we'll be ready to go.
Ah, kill the music. Wow.
It's called a smoker and we fill the can with paper and dried lavender.
Okay. So the comments turned off on her most viewed content. Comments are turned off. So that means that people are sledging this content. They don't like it. Let's get back to how do astronauts poop for children. I'm sure she said now, Dharma, you've got to remember that this channel, it's all about being over the top and energetically energized. I'm still on DLive and I don't play copyrighted content, nor XXX. But you're not streaming though, Dale. Yeah, you're not streaming though.
Oh, really?
Does that help?
I think it helps. Do you think you know what it is? Is it eating your breakfast?
That can get pretty messy, but it's not about eating your breakfast.
What else would be messy on a space station? Rubbish? Is it a rubbish collector? Some sort of trash compactor?
Well, it's to do with some sort of rubbish, but not quite the rubbish that we might be thinking of putting into a bin or a trash can.
I think I know what it might be, but let's unbox it to see what it is. Can we lift it up together?
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2.
This is so dumb.
It's a space toilet! How on earth do you sit on it?
I mean, look, this is definitely aimed at children, right? Let me just see about her channel. Hi everyone, I'm Maddie. This channel is where I like to share my adventures as I ask curious questions and go in search of answers, packed with videos about animals, plants, travel, and tech. There's always something new to learn and explore. Subscribe to the adventures. Maddie Moat is an edutuber, an author, actor, and BAFTA-winning presenter. Passionate about science and curiosity, she's the host of the BAFTA-nominated CBBS, and Maddie's Do You Know BBC Earth's Kids Fully Charged series, Maddie Goes Electric. Maddie's been creating educational science videos since 2013, amassing 80 million views on our own channel, hundreds of millions. So it's aimed at kids. Oh my God, why do I see Poopsie doing this in a couple of years? Right. I mean, that's who this is aimed at, right? Kids, right? For sure. Yeah.
We've got gloves on, so that means we can get hands on.
Yep. So this is actually a demo of a space toilet that was used by the Russians on the Mir space station.
Now, this looks absolutely nothing like a toilet that we have at home. So how does this one work?
Okay, so if we maybe open it up, we will be able to find that it looks a little bit maybe like a toilet that we're used to.
Well, it's a very small hole. You've got to have good aim.
Yeah, they definitely want to make sure that they're sitting in the right position.
But it looks like a bag.
Yeah, so the solid waste is actually captured and then it is disposed of.
Okay.
Either by...
I feel like when they talk about this kind of stuff, like let's say, you know, this is a science show and they're talking about, you know, a toilet, they should just say at the beginning, so we're going to talk about pooing and peeing. So I'm going to actually mention the word poo or poop or shit or urine or piss. Instead, she says the solid waste. Just tell us what we know it's poo, right? Just say the poo. Space toilets suck. That's right. They suck it out of you. Yeah. Which I want here. I want that on Earth, man. Why do they only get it in space, man? It's not fair.
Taking it back to the Earth, or it's put into a space capsule, and then as that comes back down to the Earth, it disintegrates along with the poo.
Wait, if eventually a capsule full of the astronauts' poo is sent back to Earth to burn up in the atmosphere, is it possible that I could be looking at the night sky, see what I think is a shooting star, and actually it might be a bag of burning poo?
That's likely. You could be wishing upon a bag of burning poo.
Wow. One to look out for.
How does this one work?
So this is our funnel for collecting water waste.
So is this like a suction hose?
Yes.
So actually, you've got to be prepared that when you go for a poo or a wee...
Wait, that's a men's one, right? That's not a women's one? Oh, no, the women could just...
That's going to be weird.
That is going to get weird. The women could, they could use both. That's for both. You could, okay. It's kind of hot, isn't it?
There's going to be a little... A bit of suction going on to make sure that the fluids, the waste, the solids are being sucked down and don't end up floating around.
Absolutely.
But why does this happen? Well, on Earth, an invisible force called gravity pulls everything down towards our planet's centre. It's why a ball falls to the floor, water pours into a glass, and wee goes down a toilet. However, on board a space station like the ISS, there is way less gravity, and without it, everything floats about. Astronauts, food, and, if you're not careful, toilet waste. That's why the space toilet needs suction. The airflow helps pull the waste where it's meant to go.
I won't mention what happens to fluids when men and women get intimate. I mean, I kind of want to, I don't want to think about that, but it is an interesting, it's a perplexing situation, isn't it? When is someone going to when is someone going to consummate it up in space and then, you were conceived on the dark side of the moon on this trip. 9 months later, the space baby comes out, and they're immune to gravity. They're the only human that doesn't have. No, that's not how it's going to work. But you know what I'm saying.
Now, we already know where those shooting poo bags end up, but what happens to
the first spaceman?
What they used to do is take the liquid waste and they would what we call vent it out into space, which basically means just releasing that water out of the spacecraft into the vacuum of space.
Why is she saying water? It's not water, it's piss. Just pissing into space.
That's cold.
It is very cold.
So does that mean it almost turns into instant wee slushy?
It pretty
like
much
icy
does.
slush.
It does turn into like tiny little frozen, almost snowflakes of wee.
That sounds quite pretty.
It looks, or it's described as looking really nice, almost like it glitters in the sunlight.
Oh.
The issue is, though, that a lot of that water, when vented into space, created these tiny little icy droplets, which then actually damaged the solar panels of the space station.
Okay, so what happens now?
The water.
Wait. What did she say? The ice particles damage the solar panels? So stop pissing on my solar panels. Coin Captain would look for a lunar 7-Eleven. Right.
Collected and recycled on the space station. So they say that yesterday.
Spoke to him recently, dude? Have you spoke to Coin Captain for recently?
Tea. You're recycling that water and using it as much as possible. It's filtered and purified to, make it usable again.
Well, there you go. So you would be drinking your own wee. You've got to be happy with that if you want to be an astronaut.
And someone else's.
And someone else's.
They should test
I've got
it.
another little something to show you. It's actually hiding in our spacecraft over there.
Ooh. Is it delicate?
Not recently? No, okay.
A little bit. I'd like you to try and guess what this is in the box.
Oh.
Interesting. Okay, it's some kind of clear plastic bag with a hole in it. What do you think it's for? It must be for containing something. Go on, Dara, tell us.
What we would have astronauts use before the invention of space toilets, it's a glorified poo bag. So we're going back here to the Apollo era. So this is the first time that humans were traveling to the moon, and they only had short missions, so a few days, potentially a few weeks. So they didn't have space toilets built and ready, but they would take these.
You got silver coins from 2021, now worth 4 times. Wow, that's cool. Nicely done, dude.
Fecal containment devices or poo bags with them. I've got a picture to show you how it works.
No.
So it would have almost like a sticky kind of outer part, so you could attach it to your backside.
No.
As you can see, it's sticky to make sure that
it doesn't float away.
Yeah, we don't have anything escaping. It's also got, like you say, some tubes where you can poke your fingers into, because like we've experienced, astronauts in an environment with no gravity means that poo doesn't necessarily just fall straight down. Sometimes it needs a little help. And so you can use your fingers through the plastic tubing to
hold it down.
To help bring the poo out.
So you're pulling it out of your ass. I spoke to Elfstar the other day. Dude gave me a digital T-Rex as thanks. That's cool. Nice. For something that you did for him. That's cool. Rad.
Having to get your fingers messy.
Now listen up, because I'm about to read an actual conversation between 2 astronauts about an escaped poo.
I feel like you should put an effect on my voice for this.
No, please don't.
An astronaut effect now.
Who did it? Where did that come from? Give me a napkin, quick. There's a turd floating through the air. I didn't do it. It ain't one of mine. I don't think it's one of mine. Mine was a little more sticky than that. Throw that away, God almighty.
Trouble with that is, like, you don't always just do solid logs. Like, sometimes you do, like, big logs and, like, small little segments that flake off. There'd be the flaky bits as well. It's not just like one turd, like one cigar floating through the ship. You'd have one big, like, solid cigar, and then there'd be all these little other flaky bits. And sometimes you do these little curvy ones that, like, wisp out like a little U. That'd all be floating around too. You'd have to, like, get them all. Be like, finding your favorite baseball card. Find them all, get them all, and put them back together.
I wonder how many poos have been lost in space. That is brilliant. What a mystery box. What a mystery box. Thank you so much. This was absolutely fascinating. Thank you.
No worries.
Okay, I'll do the first bit, you do the last bit. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us here.
No wonder she's turned off comments on that. That's pretty hard to watch. But the science behind it was good. The facts are there. And, I mean, I just couldn't really deal with her content. I don't know if you enjoy Maddie Moet. I don't really enjoy that. But I do enjoy you and your company. Thanks for hanging out here with me on the stream for today. I'll probably stream tomorrow, I think. Maybe. Not working, so maybe I'll stream. I don't know. I'm just trying to keep more streams, keep making content, keep enjoying myself. And so thanks, Dale, for swinging back in. And thank you for the comments also from Jake. Yeah, thank you for being here. Oh man. I should have done this after. Yeah, thanks for being here, and I guess I'll catch you on the next time. See you next time. See you soon. See you when ever.
Started out alive, man, that was the play. Streaming every night, building up the sway.
Get that out of there.
But as the sight faded, I had to find my way. Now I'm hopping platforms, surfing through the fray. Got my crew behind me, yeah, we call them givers. Chillin' IRL, catching all the rivers. Farkle in the chat, bringing lost to the grind. Talking cripple games while we sippin' Jack Fine. Gives a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, the life's a subtle rhyme. From the land down under, streaming through the night. New Zealand vibes, surfing waves day to night.